Actually, Daddy. My young daughter's confession left me stunned. That man, doing such things behind my back. Unforgivable. In that moment, I decided I would do whatever it took to send my husband to hell and make him regret everything with all my might. My name is Dahlia. I'm 42 and terribly weak against heat. Every year around August, my appetite drops dramatically and I become completely exhausted. I'm not sure if it's my poor lifestyle or if recent summer heat is just abnormal. This year, I might stock up on ice cream just to get some sugar in my system. While I try various measures against summer heat every year, winter also holds bitter memories for me. It happened several years ago. I was living happily with my husband and our daughter Kiara. All right. Kiara, let's go out with Daddy. Okay. My husband said this while taking our daughter's hand, preparing to leave. Somehow, my daughter didn't seem very enthusiastic. That sounds nice. Where are you going? Take me too. I said playfully to my husband. Huh? You don't need to come, he replied. What? You've got housework to do, right? Just take care of things at home. What's that about? You said the same thing last time and wouldn't take me. Haven't you been cold to me lately? Though I could tell from his serious expression that he wasn't joking, I tried to play it off lightly. However, my husband spat out words that surely didn't match his true feelings. No, this is consideration for my busy wife, and headed to the parking lot with our daughter. If it were really consideration, he would say something like, since housework is tough, let's go out for a break, or I'll help with the housework. Recently, my husband had been increasingly taking our daughter out somewhere alone. If I said, I want to go too, like earlier, he would refuse, and when I asked the pair where they went after they returned, they would stubbornly answer, it's a secret, and tell me nothing. I wondered if maybe my family had come to dislike me. If my daughter disliked me, it might be because I was always strict and angry about her food preferences. As for my husband, perhaps it was because I rarely went out except for neighborhood shopping since I was a housewife, and lately I hardly even wore makeup. Thinking about various things, I started to feel I might have some shortcomings too. So after finishing the housework, I decided to make myself look nice. I put on makeup and prepared lots of our daughter's favorite foods for dinner while waiting for them to return home. Welcome home, dear Kiara. I greeted them with a smile when they returned. However, my husband only said, "Oh, I'm home," without even meeting my eyes. As for our daughter, she looked tired, perhaps from playing too much. Kiara, did you have fun going out? Yes. Wasn't it fun? That's not true, right, Kiara? For some reason, my husband cut into the conversation while I was asking our daughter. Prompted by my husband, our daughter answered, it was fun, but somehow it felt half-hearted. Usually when Kiara truly had fun, she would tell me about the day's events with her impressions mixed in. My husband seemed flustered by our daughter's unenthusiastic response. Was it because she didn't enjoy where he took her? Or were the two of them hiding something? Since neither my husband nor daughter would say anything, I had no proof. Maybe they really just went out to play. But since I wasn't allowed to go along, a strange uneasiness remained in my mind. By the way, The only one who mentioned my change in makeup and clothes that day was our daughter, who later regained her energy. "Mama, you look pretty today," she said. My husband glanced over at this but only said, "Huh, you're right," and that was it. I wanted to get angry and say, "You could say a bit more than that," but perhaps my efforts had missed the mark if they weren't even concerned about my appearance. And here I thought they had just come to dislike me. Though they were my own family, I didn't know what to do about them. After that too, my husband continued taking just our daughter out somewhere every weekend. As always, no matter what I said, he wouldn't take me along. The time they returned home gradually got later and later, from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m., until finally they came back after 10 p.m. A new record late return. My husband was carrying our sleeping daughter on his back. Since his behavior had become clearly excessive, I ended up scolding my husband right after he got home. "Hey! Where are you taking Kiara until this late? She has kindergarten tomorrow, she needs to go to bed early instead of being dragged around until midnight." My husband grimaced at my words as if to say, "Shut up." As if he couldn't hear my voice, he ignored me while taking off his shoes and went straight up to the room. "Hey, are you listening? If you love Kiara enough to take her out to play every week, you should think about her health too. Shut up." Suddenly my husband raised his voice as if a dam had broken. Our daughter, who had been sound asleep, seemed to wake up at his voice and started crying. "Come here, Kiara, don't cry," I said as I detached her from my husband's back and held her. "Geez, don't raise your voice when there's a child here," I scolded my husband. He shot back, "What about you? Getting all worked up as soon as I get home? Are you in a bad mood because you can't come along on our outings?" "That's not it at all, I'm just saying if you're going to take a child out, please consider the time." "Oh sure, you're just jealous of our daughter who gets to go out." "Why would you interpret it that way? Isn't it normal for a parent to not want their child dragged around late at night?" "Whatever, just prepare my bath. Bring me my change of clothes." "What's with that attitude?" "Fine, I don't care. Get your own clothes." "Huh? You always bring them for me. It's your own fault since your attitude made me angry." "I won't do anything." Damn. I really failed in choosing a wife. My husband left while giving me a cold stare that seemed impossible for looking at one's wife. He deliberately closed the door loudly and walked to the bathroom with thundering footsteps. I couldn't help feeling scared. What's going on? I don't think I said anything wrong. Rather, my husband lacks awareness as a father towards our daughter. He used to be more family-oriented and wasn't the type to get angry in a way that frightened those around him. Why did he become like this? Almost 6 years since our marriage. Perhaps it's time to reconsider our relationship. After this incident, my husband's rough treatment of me became more noticeable. "I need this, huh?" One Sunday, what my husband handed me was a memo. It had things like ice cream and potato chips written in his handwriting. "What's this? Are you telling me to go buy these? You're free anyway, please." "No way, you're just sitting at home doing nothing too. Go buy them yourself." Huh? A housewife shouldn't talk back to her husband. Who do you think's money lets you live so comfortably? And who do you think lets you live without doing any housework? You earn money, I do housework at home, it's just a division of roles, right? Our positions should be equal. You're not cute at all. Kiera, tell mama, say, old hag. Old hag. Our daughter repeated the words my husband told her with a puzzled look. However, my husband was delighted that our daughter had called me an old hag and encouraged her, say it more, while laughing loudly. Why should I be called an old hag just for speaking sense? Perhaps noticing my irritation, our daughter looked at me with an apologetic expression, so I quickly forced a smile and smiled just at her. Anyway, go shopping yourself. To my words, my husband cursed, what a stingy wife. I wanted to complain that even our kindergarten daughter does things for herself, but I stayed quiet since it would just lead to a big fight. Lately, fights with my husband have been increasing like this constantly. Thinking it would badly influence our daughter too, I tried to live while suppressing my feelings to avoid conflicts with my husband as much as possible. I wondered if there was some way to rebuild a good relationship with my husband again. At this rate, the word divorce might start floating in my mind. Our daughter is attached to my husband too, so I wanted to avoid that choice if possible. I agonized over whether there was anything I could do as a parent and wife. However, my husband probably didn't consider my feelings at all. Though he reduced taking our daughter out, his nighttime wandering increased. He would often go out saying he was taking a walk after dinner but not return for hours, or leave the house empty on holidays. Perhaps he dislikes being together since our fights have increased. Though I want to get along, my efforts keep missing the mark. Our daughter's expression seems to have darkened somewhat too. At a loss for what to do, I suggested to my husband, let's go out as a family. Kiera's birthday is coming up too, so let's go to the aquarium and eat out on the way back. To celebrate her birthday. Right? Our daughter was overjoyed at my suggestion, saying, I want to see the dolphins. Though an air of reluctance emanated from my husband, perhaps judging he couldn't refuse given our daughter's reaction, he agreed saying, all right. I thought if we could spend time together as a family, surely this tense atmosphere would change. I thought conversation would increase too if we enjoyed ourselves outside rather than inside the house, but... What? Work came up. Sorry, but I have to go to the office. See you. Wait. Hey. On our daughter's birthday. My husband left in a hurry saying, I got called into work from the company, without properly apologizing. Mama, what about the aquarium? Our daughter had tears in her eyes. Confused by the sudden situation myself, I could only vaguely say, I'm sorry, to comfort her, unable to say whether we would or wouldn't go. In the end that day, our daughter and I went to the aquarium together, but cancelled just the dinner out since my husband might come home. However, my husband didn't even send a single message though it got late into the night, and unbelievably came home in the morning. What do you mean cancelling family plans and not even contacting us before coming home in the morning? Having waited up for my husband without sleeping, I ended up yelling as soon as he got home. However, without showing even an apologetic face, my husband brazenly said, can't be helped since it was work. I'm not angry about the cancellation due to work. I'm angry that you don't have even a bit of apologetic feeling. Even yesterday, I took Kiara just to the aquarium since she was looking forward to it so much, but she kept making sad faces because you weren't there. Even for dinner, since that child said she wanted to eat with Papa, we canceled the restaurant and waited at home for you two together. After canceling plans in that way, don't you think family might be waiting at home? Even now, you haven't said even one sorry. My complaints about my husband came pouring out one after another like a broken dam. Though I had some feeling I shouldn't say these things, I couldn't stop anymore. You waited on your own, right? If you're going to complain so much, you should have just gone to sleep instead of purposely staying up. Don't try to cover up your own bad mood by blaming it on our daughter. You're just throwing a tantrum on your own. How did it become that kind of conversation? Don't you feel anything about skipping out on your daughter's birthday? Like I said, how many times do I have to tell you? It was work. Are you telling me to quit my job? I'm not saying anything like that. Fine. I'm tired, I'm going to shower and sleep. Saying that, my husband turned away and went to the bathroom like during that fight before. Though I had kept telling myself it couldn't be true until now, maybe continuing as a married couple really was impossible. Even if we avoided divorce and continued as a show marriage for our daughter's sake, if our daughter noticed something wrong with our relationship in the future, we would end up hurting her anyway. If we continue this tense relationship, it's only a matter of time before she notices. Children aren't that stupid. But right now our daughter loves both my husband and me. If told she could only choose one parent in case of divorce, wouldn't that be painful? Unable to decide whether to divorce or not, my heart wavered. Then one day it happened. Kiara, sorry we couldn't go to the aquarium on your birthday. Want to take a bath with Papa today? Yes. Our daughter happily agreed to my husband's invitation. It seems my husband felt somewhat bad about the other day in his own way. Though he doesn't need to apologize to me, I felt slightly relieved hearing the words sorry, since I wanted him to at least feel apologetic towards our daughter. Mama. Papa said he'll play with me. That's great, Kiara. Our daughter skipped happily towards the bathroom carrying her bath toys. While finding it endearing and thinking how cute she was, I said to my husband too, have fun. My husband just answered, yes. Though he remained curt with me as always, that was fine for now. Just seeing our daughter happy was enough. Or so I thought. It was about 20 minutes after they went to the bathroom. Dahlia. Help. I heard my husband's trailing voice call out loudly, and thinking something might have happened to our daughter, I hurried to the bathroom where my husband had collapsed half out into the changing room in a crawling position. Dear. What happened? Though he didn't respond when called, so seemed unconscious, he was breathing. Since his legs and arms were red, maybe he got overheated. Looking around, I noticed our daughter was missing. Her clothes weren't in the changing room. What was going on? Though they should have been showering together. Though I felt bad for my husband, I prioritized our missing daughter and frantically searched the whole house. Then when I went outside and around to the back of the bathroom, I heard a small voice saying, "Mama, Mama," from the direction of the storage shed. It was Kiara's voice. I immediately opened the storage shed door. There was our daughter, sitting alone among cleaning supplies and trash meant to be thrown away. Why in such a place? Hide and seek. No, that couldn't be. Our house has a back door next to the bathroom. It's because we used to have a large dog. We designed it that way since it was convenient for washing their feet after walks. Therefore, it was fully possible for our daughter alone to come to this storage shed from the bathroom. However, there's no way a child who was so looking forward to playing in the shower with her father would suddenly hide in the storage shed. Why are you in a place like this? Did your father tell you to? I immediately hugged her. Poor thing, her small body was completely cold from being in the freezing storage shed. Yes. Papa said, wait here. He said don't come out until I call you. Why would he do such a thing? You know, I kept it secret but what our daughter told me then was an utterly horrifying story. I'm ashamed I lived without knowing anything. And more than that, I felt hatred for my husband. I'll never forgive him, I'll make him regret this from the bottom of his heart. This is how I decided to take everything away from my husband. It's cold. What's this? Hey, is that you, Dahlia? My husband's voice conveyed his clear confusion. Yes. You're awake. What do you mean, you're awake? You left me naked in the bathroom, what a cold wife. Saying that, my husband opened the door and came back to the changing room. Right after, my husband's face stiffened. Huh? Dad? Mom? Waiting with me sitting formally in the changing room were my husband's parents. The two glared at him sternly. Why are they in a place like this? I'm not wearing clothes, so don't look. Hey, towel. My husband frantically grabbed a bath towel and covered his front. Oh my. Don't you have more important things to hide than that? Huh? What are you trying to say? My husband responded unpleasantly to my question. He can maintain such an attitude only for now. You should have hidden this person, right? Saying that, I dragged the woman who had been waiting in the hallway into the changing room. No. Stop, the woman screamed. My husband's expression froze again when he saw her. Huh, why? It seems you were dating this person in our bathroom. After sending our daughter to the storage shed. How do you know that? My husband quickly covered his mouth and made an expression like he'd messed up. I couldn't help smirking, pleased that my husband had given himself away. I heard everything from our daughter and this woman. No matter how much you try to hide it, it's useless, face it. At my words, my husband held his head in his hands. He seemed to realize he could no longer keep up the pretense. What I heard from our daughter was an unbelievable story. My husband had been having an affair with this woman, Ronnie, all this time. And more than that, he took our daughter along. The place he said he was taking her to play was actually Ronnie's house. No wonder I wasn't allowed to come along. On top of that, he had manipulated our daughter by saying, "Don't tell Mama where we went or who we met. Because Kiara will get scolded." Because of this, our daughter couldn't honestly say she didn't want to go to the mistress's house, and had no choice but to stay quiet. Using Kiara for affair alibi cover-ups is the lowest. You've disappointed me as a human being. You disgrace. Saying this, my husband's mother violently slapped his cheek. Furthermore, She was beating my husband's body with a laundry detergent bottle, but no one tried to stop her. Only Ronnie somewhat hesitantly intervened, saying, "That's enough." Everyone else watched my husband with the feeling that he deserves to be hit. "Why did you call my parents for my affair, Dahlia? That's underhanded." "I don't want to hear about being underhanded from someone who did such an underhanded thing as having an affair. I just wanted your parents who love Kiara to know about your outrageous behavior. What's wrong with that?" "That's right. Don't you dare complain," my father-in-law shouted, agreeing with my words. My in-laws, who dote on Kiara as their first grandchild, might hate my husband even more than I do. My father-in-law's fierce gaze, which was apparently quite bad in his younger days, made my husband visibly tremble. "Anyway, Ronnie, how did you get caught?" "I made sure you escaped." That's... Ronnie had come to our house at my husband's invitation. Why did my husband do such a foolish thing as inviting his mistress home? The reason goes back to our daughter's birthday. That day, it seems my husband had originally planned to meet Ronnie. He was planning to take our daughter along as usual. However, when I suggested the birthday party, his plans changed. When my husband said, "I want to cancel this time," Ronnie apparently got angry, saying, "Which is more important, me or your family?" From there, their relationship became somewhat strained and awkward. Recently, my husband apologized and told her, "I'll cherish you." And as proof that Ronnie was more important than family, he invited her to our house. He even said lines like, "If my wife finds out about you, I'll choose you this time for sure." Though he says he invited her home, it was really just a brief tryst of several dozen minutes in the bathroom. Moreover, he brought our daughter, who loves playing in the bath, to avoid suspicion even for longer periods. Though I think this shows my husband's cowardly side, Ronnie seems to have been happy about it anyway. They say love is blind. This is how the two came to meet secretly in our house. However, my husband got too excited by the unusual situation of meeting his mistress in our home bathroom, his blood pressure rose, and he lost consciousness from overheating. Just before losing consciousness, he somehow managed to get Ronnie to escape through the back door. In her panic, Ronnie forgot to take her clothes and had just a towel. Though she wanted my husband to get her belongings, the back door was locked and he had already passed out. With nowhere to run, she hid behind our storage shed and was easily found by me. "This wasn't supposed to happen, I'm sorry," said a teary-eyed Ronnie. My husband sighed as if annoyed and groaned, "This is the worst." What an outrageous thing to say even at this point. I couldn't help scolding him. "Isn't that attitude wrong towards your crying lover, even if she is a mistress? Whose side are you on? The only certain thing is that I'm your enemy." At my husband's clicking tongue, my in-laws' eyebrows rose unpleasantly. Noticing their reaction, my husband looked away awkwardly and declared, "That woman is just making things up. I haven't had any affair." Huh? Ronnie looked at my husband with a surprised expression. Here came an unexpected betrayal. That's right. She broke into the back door on her own and kidnapped Kiara. Everyone thought this excuse was obviously impossible. However, my husband seemed to want to get through this situation somehow with this pathetic excuse. "She's an intruder," he accused Ronnie. "Unbelievable. Didn't you call me here?" I even have your messages on my phone. My husband flinched at Ronnie's words. That's right. I confiscated Ronnie's phone, so I've seen all your exchanges. When I said this, Ronnie took on a triumphant attitude, saying, "See. You won't escape alone. When we go to hell, you're coming with me." Saying this, Ronnie hit my husband. Though my husband said, "What are you doing?" he seemed unable to argue against Ronnie's words and bit his lip in silence. "I'm sorry. I apologize for having such a relationship with your husband. So please forgive just me." It seems Ronnie finally decided to betray my husband. She obviously tried to curry favor with me. Behind Ronnie, my husband was saying childish things like, "That's unfair of you. Don't worry, Ronnie. Neither one of you will escape alone. When I send you to hell, it will be together, huh? They should be coming soon." "What are you talking about?" "Oh, nothing. I don't understand." Shortly after such exchanges, our house's intercom rang. "Father-in-law, could you please greet the person who just came and bring them here?" Though looking puzzled, my father-in-law said, "All right," and headed to the entrance. Then, one person came to the changing room guided by my father-in-law. Ronnie's face stiffened. No wonder. She must have been quite surprised. I could feel my mouth involuntarily forming a smirk. This is Ronnie's father. I found his contact information in Ronnie's phone and explained the situation by email to invite him here. "No," my husband shouted. "Huh?" I asked back. "Why are you here?" "Director." My husband was surprised and Ronnie turned pale. "Huh? Director? What do you mean?" "Dahlia, why did you call my boss? Calling our parents is one thing, but you got the wrong person. Making things complicated." "No, I checked the sent history on Ronnie's phone in my hand, thinking it couldn't be. I definitely sent the message to someone registered as Papa. I didn't make any mistake. So this person should be Ronnie's father, but..." Meanwhile, the man called Director also stood frozen with a pale face. "It can't be, Ronnie," the director groaned. Ronnie broke down crying and screamed, "I'm sorry. Please forgive me." My husband also stood there dumbfounded. "Aren't I your lover?" "What do you mean, father?" Well." Ronnie looked around troubled while the director desperately tried to get to the truth. "Since it was registered as Papa, I thought he was your parent when I called him. Is that wrong?" The director's eyes widened at my question. "Papa?" At the director's words, Ronnie hung her head.